as India eagerly awaits the grand inauguration on the new Parliament building, which is slated to take place tomorrow, NewsX brings you 10 new and interesting facts about the new Sansad building that will surely pique your interest. From factual data to some new installations, let's have a look at these 10 fascinating facts. I'll also be joined by some stellar voices for the next half an hour on the show. Ambassador Bhaspati Mukherjee, former diplomat, with me on the program. Mr. Ravi Bhatt, historian, is also here with us. Mr. Ramakrishnan, a public policy expert, joins us on the show as well. And last but by no means the least, Professor Madhav Nalapat, senior journalist and editorial director of the Sunday Guardian, also with us on the program. In fact, let me just cut across to the big screen and show you how novel and how new this new building is going to be, and 10 facts that perhaps you may have not known are going to be brought to you. And of course, the number one fact is that there is express seating arrangement, and that was one of the very important reasons why a new Sansad building was in the fray, because as India grows, as India expands, and as the constituencies inflate, there is going to be a requirement for more lawmakers to be a part of the new Sansad. In the Rajya Sabha, earlier you had 245 seats. Now you're going to have a third more of that, which is 384 in the upper house. Earlier in the Lok Sabha, you had 552 seats, and now there is a provision for almost 888 seats. That's close to 1,000. So this is obviously bigger. Fact number two, well, 1,140 additional seats have been arranged in the new Sansad in the central hall. There are also provisions, as we know, as we have seen, for public to in fact visit and observe the proceedings of the Parliament. Fact number three, the building is designed to have a lifespan of 150 years, designed to be earthquake resistant as well. This is obviously based on the latest technology, based on the latest architectural principles as well as compared to the old Parliament building. Fact number four, the built area is 20,866 square meter, not feet. We're talking about square meter, which is 10% smaller than the existing building of 22,900 square meter. Maybe the square meter area is smaller, is a little concise, but perhaps the utilization of the space is a lot more adroit and skillful. Fact number five, the new Parliament has 3 entrances named the Gyan Dwar, the Shakti Dwar and the Karma Dwar. So details such as the entrances have also not been missed out. The Indianization of the Parliament is obviously been kept in fray. Fact number 6 is that this is the fastest construction of the Parliament building, done in 29 months. Bangladesh's Jatiyo Sansad Bhavan was completed in 4 years, and this is obviously a new landmark, a new feather in India's growing infrastructural pace. Fact number 7, a grand constitution hall, lounge for MPs, library, multiple committee rooms, dining areas are additions in the new Parliament House as well. Member of Parliaments will also get their own seats. They will also get their own offices from which they can operate out of, and that is, of course, fact number 7. Fact number 8, 530 seats will be dedicated to media people as well, where they can come and in fact observe, like I said earlier on as well, the proceedings of the Parliament and what exactly is being discussed. Fact number 9, 2 entrance points to be designed for children, the elderly, the disabled, for easy access to public and central constitutional galleries as well. So this is not going to be off limits for tourists or people who want to in fact relish the idea and soak in the essence of the new Parliament. Fact and number 10 and the last fact, 23 lakh 4,095 people have been employed to make the new Parliament building. That's a lot of people. And that is the reason, folks, we've been able to see a record completion time of the new Parliament. We're going to go across to our guest, Professor Madhav Nalapat. Sir, if you can hear me.
Yes, I can.
Sir, the one thing that really has impressed me about this new Parliament is the fact that though it may be smaller in terms of the square meter area, better utilization of space, a better expansive Galleria, as well as technological advancements have been kept in mind. This building is going to last for another 150 years. But these are some of the latest facts that have come about our new parliament. In your opinion, how is this likely to make the democratic process of passing laws, deliberating on laws, fighting on particular laws a lot more easier?
Well, I'd like to say that this new parliament will be very, very good for the members of parliament, including those who are looking at boycotting tomorrow's opening. The fact is that you have offices there, their constituents can come and meet them, and they can do their work. You're going to have a much stronger research facility, and you're going to have online research, which was just not there when Parliament was designed, and for much of the functioning of this Parliament. The reality is that members of Parliament were handicapped because unless they were ministers or senior opposition leaders, they had really no space inside the Parliament building to one-on-one meet their constituents. That is changed now. And I'm very glad that more space is being given to the media because after all, I was very, very happy when you had Parliament, Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha televised. And I'm sure that the Supreme Court will ensure that all courts are also televised round the clock. Because this kind of thing is very important. It's important to give the people a sense of what their representatives are doing and what their representatives are up to. So from all these points of view, frankly, it's a much more convenient space than what has been the space given to them so far. Now, I personally believe that this particular boycott is essentially because the effort of some parties in the opposition is essentially targeting one individual, Prime Minister Modi. And whatever he does is in their book by definition wrong. Even if he gives them a very good parliament building with all the facilities and convenience, well, he has given it. So it's wrong. And so they're raising, frankly, irrelevant controversies, such as who's opening it. And again, may I end by pointing out that, look, Parliament elects the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister is elected by the people. It's not an indirect election. If you have the Lok Sabha, for example, the Lok Sabha is directly elected by the people. It's the most representative body in Parliament. So from that point of view, the Prime Minister, who is from the Lok Sabha, who was elected by Lok Sabha members of Parliament, I think he's a perfect candidate to inaugurate. And may I say one thing? President Murmu is a very high exceptional quality. And I'm really saddened that the president's name and the office of the president is being dragged into an unnecessary controversy. My view, Beneath, let's stop talking about religion. Let's stop talking about politics where the national interest is concerned. And I would say this new parliament building is very important in the national interest.
Absolutely, sir. Great points there. Ambassador Mukherjee, what does a politician need to do his or her job? Well, if you're getting a new office or if you're getting a new place where you can make the lives of your constituents and your countrymen better, then it is obviously a thing to look forward to. But that is not the environment that, we are living in for the past few days.
Well, actually, Beneath, the environment that we are living in is fine, because the inauguration of the new parliament is being celebrated throughout the length and breadth of this great country to which we belong by the people of India. The same people who elected the members of parliament, the majority of whom will be there for the inauguration, and a few who will not attend because of their narrow political agenda. So it is an occasion to celebrate, and it will be celebrated across the length and breadth of India. What India needed was a new parliament. No political party has ever disputed that. What India needed was for members of parliament to have space. I remember when I was Joint Secretary going to parliament and thinking that even very senior cabinet ministers had such cramped spaces There was no question of members of parliament having any space to move around in. The facilities were very poor, and there were no facilities for, as you said, the differently abled, etc. Now, the way you've described it, we have a parliament building that we can be proud of, which is earthquake-proof, which has facilities, which enables members of parliament to be able to interact with their constituents in a manner in which they should be able to, given India's rising stature, etc. But you have a boycott. And the boycott, actually, the reasons given for the boycott, in my different television interviews yesterday, because as you know, 270 of us had brought out a letter criticizing the boycott and suggesting that political parties have a rethink and attend the inauguration tomorrow. And one of the issues which was raised repeatedly was the fact that crocodile tears were being shed at the so-called exclusion of the first lady, first citizen of our country. And I have to point out that the first citizen of our country was actually elected by the present ruling party. Those who are shedding crocodile tears were those who voted against her. And some very distasteful remarks and wrong remarks were made about her caste origin, etc., which I found very distasteful. Similarly, there were crocodile tears being shed by one ruling political party from West Bengal about the Vice President of India, who, when he was governor in that state, was so miserable that he did not probably have one night's rest because of the manner in which he was treated by the leaders of that political party. So what does it show, Vineet? It shows that there is no reason to boycott by these parties except narrow political agendas. And in the period leading up to the general elections, all these tantrums will happen again and again. The general elections will prove whether these actions, which are purely political and petty, will they really translate into votes for these political parties or not. We will wait how it pans out for them. I am going to celebrate tomorrow on this great occasion.
We all will, ma'am. We all will. Mr. Ramakrishnan Thiruvananthapuram, public policy expert, also with us on the show. Mr. Ramakrishnan, sir, appreciate you joining us. Well, you know, I've already laid out why this Sansad Bhavan, why this parliament building is very important. You know, there is not even a single reason that any of us who are Indians at heart can find, you know, to admonish anything related to it, let alone the inauguration. What do you make of what's going on right now under the purview of some of the facts that I have brought out in my opening monologue?
Exactly. So I'll come to each and every point. So the first thing is, whenever the president addresses a joint meeting of both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha before budget session, we have seen very cramped space. People can't even sit comfortably, and they will be, you know, finding it, the MPs, both Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha MPs will be finding it extremely difficult to sit because the space is extremely small. So this we have been experiencing for a very, very long time. And unless otherwise we have a good space to sit and then listen to the president's speech, what is the point of having a parliament? So certainly that is the first point. Second point is, by 2025, the delimitation period is getting over, and the delimitation exercise may restart. It will start. And when the delimitation exercise is carried out, the number of Lok Sabha MPs as well as Rajya Sabha MPs are going to be increasing, because this delimitation was decided in 1970s. At that time, the number of parliamentarians, Lok Sabha members were 543. And when the voters were just 50 crores, now with 100 crore population also, we have only 543 members. So we need to increase the representation, because otherwise an MP can't even cover the area during his election campaign. So that is the kind of thing that is happening. So we need more representation. And for that, this new building will help us actually. So we can't, we have to make the preparatory work well, so that when we want to increase the number of representatives for our democracy, it becomes easy. The third one is about, yesterday I listened to a discussion in another media where they said that there is no space for journalists, but you've been saying that there are spaces for 500 journalists. So that is a kind of wrong propaganda done by some self-motivated journalists who have been doing character assassination of the Prime Minister Modi for the last 20 years. So this is actually, fortunately you highlighted that there are spaces for 500 journalists. It's a good thing. Otherwise, some people will tell the facts wrongly. Then the fourth one is the question of about who should who should inaugurate the building. See, India is both republic as well as democratic country. For as you take China, China claims that they are Republic of China, People Republic of China. That is the official name of the China. And any country can claim to be a republic as long as there is no titulariate. When I say there is no king or queen, they can claim to be a republic. Take UK. UK is a democratic country, but not a republic country. So UK, the titulariate is there now actually in the form of king. So in India, we have two systems. One is we are democratic as well as republic. The republic is represented by our first lady, Honorable President of India, whereas our democratic setup is embodied in Parliament and the Prime Minister. Prime Minister is the leader of the chief of the democratic setup in India. So after all, Parliament is also a part of democratic setup. So and that is why it is appropriate for the Prime Minister to inaugurate the building than anybody else. And another thing is the opposition parties have been moving from one issue to another. So 3 years back when the plan was done, they said that 1,000 crores for a Lok Sabha, it is too much. And then they have made a hue and cry about it. And Tata was given this project and they have done it exceptionally well. We know about their professionalism, Tata Group. And now once it is going to be inaugurated, they said that President should come and inaugurate and the Prime Minister should not inaugurate.
Sure.
The case was also filed in the Supreme Court and the Supreme Court
was thrown out. It was thrown out.
And then now, they have the petition was thrown out. Now they are raising the issue of Sengol, the righteous thing. It was given to Jawaharlal Nehru. It was not given as a what I call this walking stick for the then Prime Minister. It was given to give a rule of justice, prosperity, strength, integrity, unity, sovereignty. There are many. Because I am from Tamil Nadu,
right,
so I know the meaning of the Sengol very well. As I have read a lot of literature, Tamil literature. I know the value of the Sengol. So it represents all the good qualities of a good governance.
Okay, sir.
So
let me also, I got your point, sir. Let me also rope in Mr. Ravi Bhatt onto the program. Mr. Bhatt, despite all that's being created by the opposition at this point in time, the fact of the matter is that we are going to find ourselves in a historical moment. This is not something that perhaps you and I or anybody on this panel, on this show, will get to witness again. That's sacred enough, an event for anybody and everybody to, basically respect and attend to. You can have your scuffles, you can have your squabbles and your arguments later on, but this is something which history will remember us by. Sir, can you please unmute yourself? Sir, you're muted. Mr. Bhatt?
Hello, Mr. Bhatt. Let me share with you that, the first sign of your success or your progress is very simple. When people around you start criticizing, that's the first sign that you are successful, you are progressing, and your approach is positive. The same thing is happening here. When a handful of the disgruntled politicians, they are criticizing just for the sake of criticizing, nothing else. I give you an example. A very ground level example I'll give you. When a person gets married, he moves to a one-bedroom flat. When he has the children and he makes more money, he moves to a two-bedroom flat. And the same goes on. The more he progresses in life and the more number of the families are there, the more requirement is there. He wants to entertain his friends. Then, and his children grow up, he starts moving to a much bigger and comfortable place. The same happens in the journey of a country also. See, what we were 100 years back and what we are today. Just a very, it is ironical that the people don't understand it, that our requirement or our MPs, MLs, MPs were what it used to be 100 years back. Now it is altogether different. Just see the number of the people and the technology which has been introduced in this country. If we are going to make the use of that technology in the new parliament building, number one. Number two, as the rest of the speakers have already explained, we will have the more space, and the long and short is the more our elected representative will be comfortable there, the more they will be at peace with themselves, the more comfortable, the better decision they can take. If a person is not happy, if his person is not comfortable, he cannot be in the right mental frame. So this is something basic they should understand. The people who are criticizing it, if the new parliament building is going to make the working hours of the MPs more conducive, more comfortable, then they will be in a better mental frame to take decision. And at the top of it, the new technology is going to help. And the last but the least, we should not forget it. Now the first parliament building was built during the time of colonial era, but which doesn't represent our culture. But this time, when the new building has come, the new building, as we know, it is inspired by the Mayur, it is inspired by the lotus. So it is representing our culture also.
Absolutely.
It is representing our integrated culture. And see, the more we are, it's something like dresses. When we put on dress of our own country, we more feel comfortable because climatically also it suits us. The same is true of when our representative will be sitting in a building which reflects more culture of our country, integrated culture. I think that will keep on reminding them, hammering them that what we are Indians, and we should stick to our culture. And as I already said, that any race, any country who doesn't stick to its roots, cultural roots, mind it, they can never excel at the international level.
All right, so we've almost run out of time as well. So we'll take concluding thoughts from all our guests, starting with Professor Nalapat.
Look, I'd like to say that, unfortunately, 9/10 of our history is not even given 1/10 of the coverage. Possibly it's given 1/100th of the coverage in our history books. It's a very distorted study of our history, and it does not take account of the greatness of our history. This particular Sengol, the Chola Empire began 3 centuries before the birth of Jesus Christ, and it continued for 13 centuries after the Jesus Christ, Anno Domini. So it's something to be proud of. And the point is, reminding people of the rich tapestry of all of Indian history, not just 1/10 of it, but the whole of Indian history. It's not there in our history books, unfortunately. It's not there in the mind space of many of us, but it should be. And I think what this particular building does is to basically show that. And as for members of parliament, well, now their constituents can meet them in Delhi. They don't have to meet them, in some restaurant. They can go to Parliament House. Well, they'd love to meet them in that building. They can be taken around Parliament. And may I point out, in conclusion, you'll have much faster trains now to take them to Delhi from wherever they are.
Absolutely.
Much faster roads now to take them to Delhi from wherever they are. So I would invite constituents to come to Delhi and right in not participating in this inauguration ceremony tomorrow.
Absolutely. Ambassador Mukherjee?
Well, first of all, I would like to thank my colleague, Dr. Ramakrishnan, for reminding us about the importance of the Sengol scepter. I'm a historian and a diplomat, and I actually was completely unable also to understand the controversy about this scepter, considering that it was given to our first Prime Minister. It was not intended to be used as a walking stick. It is the very symbol of power, the transfer of power, considering that most of the important symbols of power in the United Kingdom have been stolen from their colonies, especially from India. I think it is only appropriate that tomorrow we have a symbol of power dating back to the Cholas Raja Raja Chola I remember reading in my university days. And the fact is that for once, people in North India who are totally ignorant about the South Indian culture as they are about the Bengali culture, they will have an opportunity to read and understand the great South Indian culture and what it brings to Indian civilization. So it's also an effort for educating particularly those who live in North India and who know nothing about other parts of India. I would also like to add, because I was Joint Secretary when Parliament was attacked. I was sitting in the South Block office when Parliament was attacked. That the arrangements, which probably have not been made public because of obvious reasons, the security arrangements also for this building are much better, because we have to also ensure that when everyone is inside, never mind if a few are boycotting for narrow reasons, but when they are inside the building attending a parliament session, we have to ensure that no foreign external enemy or internal enemy can take them all out at one shot, which is what the parliament attack so many years ago, and I remember it so vividly, will happen. So it's also very good, Vineet, that we have security arrangements for this parliament. I wanted to make that additional point because it is very important.
Absolutely.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.